Hey guys, and welcome to today's tutorial on another one of my favorite page styles. Okay, so let's just start with the tutorial for today. And the first step we always need to do for any of those page styles is to cut and score our cardstock as well as our pattern papers. And for the measurements, you can refer to the cutting guides and templates which are available in my Etsy store for different album sizes. And when I cut my cardstock and pattern paper, I always like to label all the elements I have cut. So this is just an example on how to use your cutting guides for cutting and scoring your cardstock and pattern papers. And then after scoring, you can go ahead and do the next step. So the next step for this page style is to attach tape right next to the scoring lines. So we have already scored our cardstock and now we can take our 3/8 of an inch tape, so at least that's what I like to use, and you just want to make sure that you place it on this little flap we have created with scoring, and you just place it right next to the scoring lines without actually covering the scoring lines. And after attaching our tape, we want to cut off the corners of the little flaps we created with scoring. So for this, I like to turn around my cardstock and then I get my small scissors and I just cut at an angle right next to the scoring lines. And just make sure that you don't accidentally cut into the scoring lines, but just next to them. Once you have cut off the corners, you can go ahead and actually fold up the little flaps we created. And for this, turn around your cardstock because you don't want to fold it up on the side where you scored it or where you placed the tape on. So we want to fold it on the back side. And then I also like to get my bone folder and burnish it down. In the next step, we want to attach our pattern paper basic page onto our basic page. And for this, I like to use wet glue because then I'm still able to move around the pattern paper and find the right position so that I have an even border around my pattern paper. And what I like to do then is I actually want to include some notches onto my pockets. So this step is of course optional. So if you don't want to include notches on here or you simply don't have a notch punch, you can just go ahead and skip this step. But if you also want to include a notch on each pocket, then you would have to do that before actually attaching the pattern papers. So for adding the notch, you want to slide your pocket as well as your pattern paper into the notch punch, and you actually want to slide the pattern paper and the cardstock all the way up through the notch punch so that it's like aligned on each other, and then just punch the notch, and as you can see, you can then just slide the pattern paper a little bit down, and then you have a perfect border around your pattern papers. And then you can get your wet glue and just attach the pattern paper onto your cardstock elements A. And now for the next step, we want to attach both of our cardstock elements A onto our basic page. And for this, I grab a little bit of tape backing from one side, and I actually want to attach the bottom of the pockets first. So once I have removed the tape backing from one side, I hold up the sticky side and can just align my pocket on the non-sticky side right to the edge of the basic page. And then once I have it in place, I can remove the rest of the tape backing from the bottom of the pocket And then I can go ahead and remove the tape backing from the sides of the pocket and just place the whole cardstock element A onto my basic page. Now that the first pocket, our cardstock element A, is attached to the basic page, we of course also want to attach our second pocket to the basic page. So just repeat the steps and just make sure that it's right next to the first pocket. So again, remove the tape backing from one side, align it right next to the other cardstock element A, and once you have it in place, you can remove the whole tape backing from the bottom of the pocket, and then also you can continue by removing the rest of the tape backing and just place the whole pocket onto your basic page. Now for the next step, we actually want to prepare our cardstock elements B to look like tags, and for this I actually recommend to just use the templates which come with the cutting guides as well. So this makes it very easy. You just have to use the template, get a pencil, and then mark the corners of the tag as well as the hole for the ribbon. You can then simply go ahead and get your scissors to cut the corners, and then a hole puncher. I actually like using my crocodile to punch the holes. Now what I always like to do when making tags is I like to get a piece of like pattern paper, so a scrap piece, and then I get some of my wider tape and I just place it on the back side of the pattern papers, and then you can turn it around and use your hole punching tool. So I use my crocodile tool again, and you punch holes just along the side where you placed your tape on the back. And then I get another like circle punch tool, and this is a circle in 1/2 inch, and I just use it to punch out those circles around the holes. And then because of the tape on the back side, they are already self-adhesive, so you can just go ahead and remove the tape backing and then just place them around the holes punched onto cardstock elements A. Now we want to attach our ribbon to the cardstock elements B, and for this I just cut off a little piece and then I fold it in the middle, and I actually grab the middle and pull it through the whole of our tags, and once it's pulled through you can then use the rest of the ribbon and also pull it through this little loop you created, and yeah. Then you have your ribbon attached, and you can continue by doing the same for the second cardstock element B. And because my ribbon was quite long, I got my scissors and just cut off a little bit, and I cut them off at an angle. But what I also like to do when I use ribbon in my page styles, I always want to make sure that they don't rip apart so easily. So I actually get a lighter and then I just burn the ends of the ribbon, and this actually prevents them from ripping apart. So that's it for today's tutorial and my favorite page style number 33. So what you can include in this page style is you could use these tags of course for journaling, but I would actually use these tags for 4x6 inch photos, at least for the 8x8 inch mini album size, and then for 3x4 inch photos for the 6x6 inch mini album size, and they just fit perfectly on those tags. And then you can actually include 4 photos here because you can use the front and the back side of those tags. So yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed today's tutorial, and if you did so, I would love to get your feedback in the comment box down below. And of course it would also mean a lot to me if you could give this video a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So I hope that you are having a great day, and I would love to see you in my next video.